Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today's video is aiming to do 3 things in one. The first being a room tour of a Disney Wish Deluxe Ocean View stateroom with a veranda. The second, why it was the cheapest stateroom during my sailing and how you can get a veranda room for super cheap too. The third, a little breakdown of what I loved about my room on the Disney Wish and what I really didn't. So for those of you who don't want commentary during your room tours, this first half of the video is for you. Enjoy whatever background music that future me chose to walk you through this Cinderella themed ocean view stateroom with the veranda. As for the rest of you, stick around. I've got more on the other side. So there you have it. That was all 243 square feet of a Cinderella-themed deluxe ocean view stateroom with a veranda on the Disney Wish. And this size, layout, and amenities is what you're going to find on the Disney Treasure and likely 2025's Disney Destiny, just with a different theme, of course. Speaking of which, the Disney Wish has 6 possible non-concierge room themes. In addition to Cinderella, you may also get Frozen, Moana, Sleeping Beauty, The Princess and the Frog, and The Little Mermaid. But let's get to what you really want to know, which is why this veranda stateroom was so cheap. So on certain sailings, Disney Cruise Line will offer what's called guaranteed stateroom bookings, many of which are noted with an acronym ending with GT. In my situation, I booked a VGT stateroom, which stands for Veranda Guaranteed Stateroom, meaning I was definitely going to get a veranda, but Disney was going to pick its location. And if you're like me and a veranda is a must for your cruise, but maybe out of reach in terms of your budget, this is absolutely the way to go because the savings can be huge. For instance, I saved $700 by booking this VGT stateroom, making it the cheapest veranda stateroom on my Disney Wish sailing. And the reason why some don't take advantage of this option is they see it as a gamble because they can't pick which deck they're going to be on and where their room's going to be located, and they won't know until a few days before their cruise. But as someone who books Disney resort hotels on a regular basis, this is standard for me because Disney always picks my room's location. I just pay for what category I want. Also, in my experience, this gamble paid off. I had fully prepared myself for a veranda stateroom at the very end of a hallway or somewhere that nobody wants. But what I got was this stateroom on deck 6 and steps away from the elevator bank. Super convenient in a prime location that I probably would have paid double for. And since I'm not picky about which deck I'm going to be on, I would be crazy not to use this option again. Now let's talk about the stateroom's biggest pros and cons, and funny enough, they're actually connected. One of the biggest pros compared to other DCL ship staterooms is the Disney Wishes TV. This is not a mini monitor from the 2000s, which is what you're going to find on the Dream and the Wonder and the classic Disney Cruise Line ships. It is a glorious 43-inch flat screen, perfectly positioned for when you're propped up in bed. But the problem, especially for those sleeping on the couch or the fold-out beds, and if they're kids who watch TV to go to sleep, they can hardly see it. It angles like a centimeter, but it's impossible to see if you're using the privacy curtain. Definitely a huge con in my book, especially for families. But for another pro, the beds. Apart from the Grand Floridian, I think the Disney Wishes beds are some of the most comfortable and high quality I've experienced on land or sea. And then there's the additional space. This stateroom isn't a deluxe family stateroom, so there wasn't an additional fold-out bed in addition to the couch, and there isn't that bonus square footage. Still, I think it looks airier and less claustrophobic due to the Wish's brighter, lighter color palette, which is very different from the classic Disney Cruise Line ships. And I'm a big fan of the storage options aboard the Wish, as Disney's creativity with maximizing space has clearly made its way to the waves as well. But that leads me to one last con. The square footage that Disney lists for your stateroom actually includes your veranda. So if it's rainy or too cold, no, you're not guaranteed to use all of the space that you thought you were getting and paid for. For some, this may be a reason to get a veranda stateroom, as you want all the space that you can get. But for others, it may be a reason not to, especially if you're going to be sailing during a chillier time of year. So there you go. That's a room tour of a Cinderella Deluxe Ocean View stateroom aboard the Disney Wish, why it was the cheapest veranda stateroom during my sailing, along with a few room pros and cons. But if you enjoyed today's video, learned something new, or you just love Disney Park and Disney Cruise Line magic, as well as news and analysis, I would so appreciate if you would give this video a like and consider subscribing. It would truly make my day, and I'd love to have you along. But regardless, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a magical day.